What's up everyone, it's Sinistry, and today we need to talk about Slime Rancher 2, the newest game by Monomi Park. In case you're unaware, Slime Rancher 2 is of course the sequel to Slime Rancher, a cute, casual game where you of course ranch slimes. Right now, the early access for Slime Rancher 2 is on Steam and Xbox, and you can get it for $30. I've been anticipating this game for such a long time, so I had to get it immediately, and I wanted to make sure to give you my first impressions in this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like casual game content, or if you're also excited for Slime Rancher 2, but now let's dive in. First of all, we have to discuss the visuals of Slime Rancher 2, because if you're unaware, Monomi Park promised that the game would look so much better than Slime Rancher 1. And they were right. It looks so good. I was so thrilled to see all of the graphics taken up to the next level. Everything is really polished now, but it still has that same kind of whimsy that Slime Rancher has always had, where it's super cutesy, but it also just feels like a very lively environment. In Slime Rancher 2, there is constant movement in the landscape, whether it's from all the different slimes, whether it's from you blowing on the blades of grass, or moving different objects. There's always something going on in Slime Rancher 2, and the slimes themselves have also been updated a little bit from what I can tell. The slimes still look really cute as you've come to expect from the first game, but they seem to have slightly better, I guess, jiggle mechanics. Basically, when you interact with slimes, I've noticed that they seem to actually move a lot more. They're not just like a solid ball that doesn't ever shift. They constantly have some kind of movement to them. And their animations are super cute. They are just as good as ever. Of course, I would think they are even better, but you know, they are pretty similar to the first game. A few other things to note, there are so many colors in this game. It's such a beautiful and very vibrant kind of game, even throughout the day and night cycle, and I think the water always looks really great as well. But enough about the look of the game, let's discuss the slimes very briefly. Slime Rancher 2 is bringing back a lot of the different slimes from Slime Rancher 1. It might actually be all of them at some point, but I'm not 100% sure if that's true. There's been a lot of speculation, and the game is only early access, so we won't know for some time. I will say two of my favorites from the first game have come back, which are of course the Tabby slimes and the Hunter slimes. One that I really hope comes back is the Mosaic slime. I think it's super pretty. I would really like to see it in this game. But there are also a couple of new slimes that I have encountered so far. The first one you're gonna see all the time is the cotton slime. It is the most adorable little bunny slime that you could ever imagine. I'm obsessed with it. I think it is so freaking cute, and I love that it's kind of taken on the role that I would say the Tabbies took on in Slime Rancher 1 of being kind of like the secondary slime that's always around. Except from my experience, the cotton slimes are pretty much everywhere, just like the pink slimes, whereas the tabby slimes tend to be kind of secluded into different areas. The angler slime was another one that I encountered in my short playthrough so far, and it is also freaking cute. Angler slimes are based off of anglerfish, so they have the little like light thing that goes off of their head, and they like knock themselves out or something. It's so funny and adorable, and I just love watching them in their corral. Unfortunately, somehow all of my angler slimes managed to get their hands on rock plorts, so I now have Largos that are angler and rock, which is kind of scary. Other than these new slimes, I'm really just excited to see all of the other new slimes that Monomi Park has mentioned they are going to bring in. I don't know if they've necessarily listed out specific slimes, but I know that they have more up their sleeves. Now let's quickly touch on Fabrication. I thought this was actually quite improved from Slime Rancher 1, and so I just want to mention kind of how it works in this game. So in Slime Rancher 1, you had to unlock the Fabrication by unlocking the part of your ranch that leads to the like science lab. In Slime Rancher 2, you already have that available, so you can fabricate from the very beginning as long as you have the items and the necessary, I guess, like blueprints. Also, your upgrades, such as your jetpack, your faster boots, things like that, they actually require you to fabricate them, so you actually need specific items. It's a little bit more difficult than it was in the prior game. But personally, I think this makes sense because this kind of encourages you to not just go and explore too quickly. It kind of encourages you you to focus a lot more on ranching than on just exploring. Because after all, you need to make sure that you have the adequate funds, the adequate tools necessary to gather all of the resources you need, and then you can fabricate, and then you are able to access further away areas that maybe you needed the jetpack to explore or things like that. Now, while I think this is a good thing, I do want to kind of contrast it with the fact that the game is still in early access, and so I feel like it's a little bit empty. Alternatively, I also think it's kind of repetitive, so we'll kind of get to where that's differing. So when I say empty, I don't mean that it's like an unfinished game. It is definitely in a state that you could say it's like mostly finished, other than maybe some story pieces, some new landscapes, some slimes, things like that. I just kind of feel like sometimes it's difficult to get the right materials. It's hard to find the little like nodes to get the fabrication materials. So I would say that like maybe that's something they'll add in more later. Or it could be that I have just kind of forgotten where all of those things are since I unlocked the ability to harvest them. So maybe I just need to kind of backtrack a little more. But where I think it's repetitive will make a lot more sense, and I think people would agree with me on this. I feel like kind of all of the areas, while they look very different, while you unlock different areas you can teleport to, they kind of all feel the same because pink slimes and cotton slimes are just so present in every single environment. I'm kind of wondering if Monomi Park did this just purely so that there weren't empty landscapes, and maybe they have other slimes planned for these different areas that are not available yet. If so, that's totally fine. I'm not going to be upset at an early access game being a little bit repetitive or having some slightly, empty environments or anything like that. But if they don't change things after they have more slimes, if they don't kind of make these areas less repetitive, then I hope that the map is really, really big to make it feel like you're not just in huge environments in the entire world getting these two kinds of slimes. Because when I say that pink slimes and cotton slimes are really present, I don't necessarily mean they're the only slimes, but I do mean that they really outnumber all of the other slimes. I've also noticed that there are just a lot of areas, I mean pretty much every area at this point, where you find tars, which I don't know if that's what they were going for, but I do feel like tars are much more of a threat in this game. In Slime Rancher 1, I found that tars were not really difficult to avoid. There were only a couple of areas where they tended to be very present, and so I just wouldn't go in those areas, or I would just avoid them after some time. I also thought it was a lot easier to get rid of tars in the other game versus this one, because in this game you can be a little further away from the ocean, so you can't necessarily just throw them in right away. I actually had a time where I launched a tar really far thinking, oh, maybe it'll go to the ocean, but then I followed it and no, it was actually still on land. I think it's cool that a lot of the land loops around and there are a lot of secret passages and different ways that you can kind of navigate the landscape, but it does make it more difficult to deal with the tars before you can get the water tank. And since I don't have the water tank yet, I am currently dealing with them by launching them into the ocean or avoiding them. All right, so the whole like emptiness and repetition is really my only gripe with this game. I want to make a point to say that I have not experienced a single bug in this game. That is saying something because this is early access, and for example, I've been playing a lot of Dreamlight Valley and that game is like super buggy, but Slime Rancher has none of those issues. I've never experienced a single issue. I only ever had lagging when my laptop was going on low power mode, and then I just plugged it in and it was fine. I do feel like your slimes are a little rowdier in this game. It could just be me. It could be that my slimes are a little bit crazy, but I will say that I do feel like if you're used to Slime Rancher 1, you may feel like they're more active. But I think that's a feature, not a bug, so I'm just kind of mentioning it in case you thought that that was a little bit more extreme than what you were used to. But my last point here is that Slime Rancher 2 really feels like Slime Rancher 1, but fully actualized. As I was playing Slime Rancher 2, I didn't find myself necessarily comparing it to Slime Rancher 1 in that I thought, oh, is this matching up to Slime Rancher 1? Because honestly, from the very first second I played this game, it was obvious it was leagues ahead. And I think Monomi Park would admit that because they've grown from a very, very small team to a team of a couple dozen people, which means that they have so much more manpower to put into this game. And in a weird way, it kind of feels like Slime Rancher 1 was like the beta for Slime Rancher 2, which still is in early access. So by the time Slime Rancher 2 really comes out, it's going to feel like miles ahead of Slime Rancher 1. Now, in particular, particular, I noticed a couple of significant improvements, which I'll just run through quickly. First of all, the pacing is really, really good in Slime Rancher 2. You unlock things very quickly, you make a lot of progress, you can catch a bunch of different slimes. Even though they don't have all the slimes in the game yet, I do feel like there's still a lot of variety, and I haven't even caught all of the different slimes yet purely because I need to unlock more things in order to have room for them. But you get all different kinds of food. I will say that's another huge thing. You have so much more food in Slime Rancher 2 than in Slime Rancher 1, and so you don't need to feel like your slimes are going to be starving. They really pretty much will never be. But really the biggest aspect is Slime Rancher 2 has a lot more to explore and a lot more unique ways to explore. In Slime Rancher 1, it felt like you had to actually go to different sections of the map to kind of explore and find new areas, and once you had unlocked them all, it kind of became a little bit repetitive. But in Slime Rancher 2, not only do you have a huge, vast landscape to explore right off the bat without unlocking anything, but you also have a lot of secret passageways to uncover. In Slime Rancher 1, it kind of felt like even though you had different areas to explore, once you had unlocked them all, they kind of became a little bit repetitive, and you could really predict what would be in each location and around every corner. Whereas in Slime Rancher 2, it's a lot more variety because you maybe have fewer places to go explore, but those places are full of different Easter eggs and locations for you to find that are hidden away somewhere. I'm not trying to downplay the awesome landscapes and the different environments that you could explore in Slime Rancher 1, but it just kind of feels like in 2, they took it to the next level. As I already mentioned, the Fabrication is available right away in Slime Rancher 2, which again feels like it just is helping you out a lot earlier on. You can also open pods right away, and you can open all the pods that I found at least, and they give you like blueprints or different items, and they're just really helpful and nice to find. And also I did mention the animation a little bit, but I do think the slimes have better animation, so I feel like this game just looks a lot nicer, and the interaction with the environment is a lot more, I guess, accurate than in Slime Rancher 1. One thing that hasn't really changed though is the movement, which I think is a good thing because this game has really solid gameplay. You don't really need to reinvent the wheel there. And I will admit that I jumped to my death a few different times in Slime Rancher 2 already. Yes, I have only played the game for probably 5 or 6 hours, but I think I've died about 3 times. So it's nice to know one thing hasn't changed. Additionally, the music and the art just feel, kind of heightened to the next level, and that kind of sums up the whole package of everything. It all just feels like it is one step above where Slime Rancher 1 was at. So to wrap everything up, Slime Rancher 2 really feels like a solid game even in early access, and I think Monomi Park should be super proud of what they've done so far, and they should really keep their heads up and keep pushing forward to get the rest of the content out. Even though Slime Rancher 2 does feel kind of repetitive at times compared to the first game, I still think that the quality of life improvements to this game have kind of taken it to the next level and have kept me intrigued. And I still want to play this game all the time, even though I have kind of felt the repetition. I still feel encouraged to keep going with it. I really just hope that Monomi Park continues to inject a lot more uniqueness into this game to kind of set it aside from Slime Rancher 1, so it doesn't just feel like it is building off of that, but it is its own standalone game. I feel like it is kind of at that point now, but they could take it even a step further and I would be happy with that. Honestly, I would recommend this game for any kind of casual gamer or even people who just kind of need a break from more intensive games. But anyway, that is everything I had to say about Slime Rancher 2 right off the bat. Maybe I will make a longer review later on when the game is fully released. But for now, I would like to know what you think about Slime Rancher 2. Do you have the game? Are you planning to get it? What do you think it looks like so far compared to the first one? And kind of how do you feel about it overall? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also, again, make sure to like and subscribe if you like Slime Rancher 2 or any other casual games. I cover several on my channel, so you will fit right in here. And if you want to chat more about Slime Rancher 2 or about casual games, make sure to hit up my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Sinistry. I'm currently streaming multiple times a week, so you can head over there and I would be happy to chat with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.